We're back in our chairs. We're here to talk about StarLog magazine. I'm here
Woo!
with Lou and Max. Lou
Hi.
still has no hair, and
That's why I have a
Max
hat.
needs a big chair.
That's why I have a hat.
Ta-da!
Hello!
And that's why
Hello!
hi there. And that's why I do have a big chair.
They can
Aloha.
only hear us. They can't see us, but we'll have to put the video after it posts out on
Thank
on the
God they can't see
podcast.
us.
Yeah, you're damn right. I didn't prep myself too well today, but
Hey.
here we are back again.
I haven't manscaped.
I haven't met. That's true.
I've got
Let's not even get into that. But yes, back again with StarPod Logs, StarPod Trek, and doing podcasts again. So excited to be here. I could tell by the expression on Rich and Max's face that they're just busting to get the information out. So
oh,
I'll just say I'm
and
Lou Melagrana, and I'm going to turn it over to Max and Rich, and let them do their thing.
all right. Well, what exactly is our thing? Well, our thing today is
No
to
idea.
talk about the greatest American hero. Isn't that right?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's what
Not me.
that's what our thing is today.
Who is the greatest American hero?
Mm,
Um well,
that can be answered in
in
many ways.
19 right, back in 1980 something, it was William Catt who picked up a suit that was given to him by a bunch of space guys.
Isn't that the most bizarre? Like
Listen,
it covers everything from like the 70s. It's like superheroes, but we got to throw science fiction in. Like the suit came from outer
Sure.
space. Like it was
And then we got to
trying
have some
tie into the.
space, right? And we got to have some spy stuff in there because we got to have, that government agent guy, right? That
Robert Culp.
has to be in there too, right? Robert Culp playing, in a government. So we had spies, we had superheroes, we had action, adventure, comedy, all kinds of stuff in that. And it was kind of interesting because when we were first talking about doing this podcast, because I never saw the Greatest American Hero when it came out in the original showing because I was living out of the country, in the 80s. But I rented the DVD
wait,
set,
Max, was that when you were
and my wife says,
exiled?
"Oh yeah, I was on the North Pole doing my Santa Claus training."
Oh, I thought you were
No,
exiled.
actually, no, actually, kind of, sort of. I was in the army at the time, actually. Um, but it was funny because my wife remembers the show, and she was saying, that show with William Catt, that he was on Perry Mason, and I'm like, what? And I was like looking at, sure enough, William Catt. It's the guy who played Paul Drake, son of Paul Drake, on Perry Mason. So he played Paul Drake in the newer the movies ones that came out in 1985,
Right.
and I was kind of a little embarrassed that I didn't recognize him right away. And but I'm like, sure enough, that's who it is. And then my wife throws in, oh, did you know that he's the son of Barbara Hale, the one who plays Della Street on Perry Mason? And I'm like, no, I did not know that.
I didn't know
And
that either.
yeah, and it's kind of interesting because then I started looking at it because like I mentioned before, I really don't do a lot of searching into what all the personal lives of all different kinds of movie stars or celebrities and stuff. But my wife knew this stuff, so I'm like, wow, this is pretty interesting. So I looked, and he's William Catt is in fact the son of Barbara Hale and Bill Williams, who is actually his real name is William Catt, but he went by Bill Williams. He was also an actor, so known for a lot of westerns and stuff like that. And so I'm thinking to myself, in my head just gets weird because I'm thinking, okay, William Catt, son of Bill Williams, which is really William Catt, he plays on Perry Mason as Paul Drake, not Junior, but Paul Drake, son of Paul Drake. I thought that was kind of and he actually plays on the same show with his actual mother, which was kind of cool. But anyway, so that's.
But I think they were also in the Freemasons, Max. So we can tie that to the Freemasons, who was in turn possibly tied to Jack the Ripper.
Okay.
So
You're right.
We can just
Wow, this is going off on a. So far, we haven't mentioned anything really about the greatest American hero.
No, we're associating.
We're into where we're attacking the Freemasons.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
None of that's true. Only what Max said is true. I just lied.
I knew William Cat from Carrie. He was the boyfriend in Carrie that gets the bucket of pig's blood, hits him on the head, and he gets knocked out. But I actually did not like William Cat.
Holy shit! I didn't know that.
American Hero. Yeah,
he's the Buckethead.
Yeah, he's
They're
the one that
laugh
like,
at you. Yeah,
he's sort of the nice jock that takes her to the prom, and he was in another movie called House that was a horror movie that was pretty good. He did after The Greatest American Hero, but I have to say I did not like him because when I was growing up as a kid, I did not like men with curly hair. Men with curly hair. I was just
gonna say it had to be something with the
out.
fucking hair. So wait a minute. So I was going to say this when we were chatting before we started. Like, how did all these guys in the 80s get this? Everybody had fucking curly hair. Were they permed? Like, everybody had the Napoleon Dynamite. Like, what the hell is up with that hair? And, like, do you even brush it? Or you just wet it? You just go out and, like, open the car window and just, like, let it blow dry? I mean, what the hell is up with that hair? Oh, don't even get me started.
Max,
so now,
curly hair.
I don't know.
No, I did not. I did not have curly hair growing up.
It's not offensive. It was just like, curly hair like freaked me out on guys. Like growing up, I'd be like, I don't like this guy. I can't. He's got this blonde curly hair.
Kaplan. Yeah, you'd be like Gabe Kaplan. You'd be like Max. You would look great as Welcome Back, Kotter, or Epstein. But I think Welcome Back, Kotter would have been your thing. The mustache, the curly hair, the sideburns. Oh, come on.
But I did like Robert Culp because I
do like Robert Culp. He was good
in reruns.
Great show,
Robert Culp. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
from Cosby having him in the show was a plus for me.
Yeah,
what did you think of the show when you finally saw it, Max?
I like I said, the first episode's kind of long. 2 hours, I think, was the time, and well, of course, they had to set up the whole premise of the show. I found the show watchable. I thought it was pretty interesting. Kind of funny, and like I said, the amount of actors that were in the show. You talk about Robert Culp, and one of the first names that jumped out at me in the credits was Michael Paré. He was the younger guy from the show, and he's also the guy that plays Eddie and the Cruisers. You gotta have seen that one from the 80s.
Yes, and he's also in Streets of Fire, one of my favorite movies.
Fantastic.
Yes,
how did he get last name Paré? It's not Paré, it's Pear. I know he says Paré, and everybody says Paré, but what is that? It's like I'm Mrs. Bouquet, and your last name's Bucket. It's the same kind of shit.
He has the little thing over the E. The what
yeah.
They call
that's added. That's added. That was a mistake. He just had bad handwriting. Sorry, Max. I didn't mean to knock off your parade.
I don't know.
I didn't mean to piss on your parade. I'm very sorry about that.
On my parade?
Hey!
Dude. Don't we have the cymbals speed up?
Yeah, and it was kind of neat because like I said, I didn't know. I remember seeing Eddie and the Cruisers, and I really liked that movie, and it was through that later on I found Streets of Fire, which was also a great movie. And going back to you're talking about Robert Culp, and I'm also my wife and I are also big fans of Columbo, and he plays the bad guy in a couple of different Columbos. So again, you're starting off with a pretty unique and interesting script, and you've got some pretty solid acting chops in this thing. So
I feel I thought it was. It's very chauvinist, Max and Richard. None of you have mentioned Connie Selica.
Connie Selica, you're talking about married to Gil Gerard at the time, Buck Rogers, As a matter of fact, they mentioned in
Okay.
the article that she had to take a sabbatical.
Yeah, this is
because
very
she had
chauvinistic.
given birth to
Well-
Gil Gerard's.
You know what's going to happen? Oh, you're going to lose all the female viewers on this portion there, Max, because we're only doing the men's.
Okay, so do you want to talk about Faye Grant then? Also, she
There
played.
you go. There you go. There you go.
She played Rhonda, right?
There we go. Max, go ahead. Throw those names out, Max. I love it.
There you go. You want to throw some names? We could throw some names.
You got to keep it balanced, Max. Men and
But
women,
the thing
Max.
is,
Men and women.
Well, I'm just talking about, I'm more than happy to talk about women whenever you want, but it just so happens that, I was familiar with the work of the male actors in this particular show. So Connie Selica, beautiful woman, but I wasn't familiar with her work.
Well, at the same time, it was.
I don't really
back
know
in
what
the
she was
day.
in. What else was she in? I just know she was in a lot of shit, right? But I just don't really know what she was in.
Yeah, a lot of TV stuff, and the show itself, and it's kind of interesting. The article was talking about like they're coming into their first full season. I guess they were sort of a mid-season replacement, and they had probably what you saw, Max, was the pilot film, the 2-hour episode showing like the whole thing, and then it got successful. They did a few more episodes, then they got a full season order, and I don't think they ever knew what direction to take the show. Was it comedic? Is it serious? Is it a combination of both? And
there's no way that show was.
They did.
Guy in underoos flying through the air.
They did that gag all the time where he couldn't fly. Like it's like I don't know how to fly, and
No, he could fly.
Shit, but that only
he finally got the flying, but it was the landing thing that was always the problem.
Right.
He did, but fortunately for him, because of the suit, he never got hurt. He might.
And then it was like a different power. Like
no, that was his curly hair. It wasn't the suit that gave him the power to fly. It was the curly hair. So, Rich, everybody had curly hair back in the 70s and 80s. They could fly. That's especially if you have blonde hair, and you could really fly. You could go over, like 10,000 feet up. But that's
right, and that's why he was. And clearly, that's why he was picked for the suit, because in the instruction book that he kept losing. It said that you were chosen to defend the frontier against. No, wait. It said you were chosen because of your big curly hair, and it works kind of like an antenna.
The most luscious golden curls. But like, if you want to talk about Robert Culp and his sci-fi credentials, he was in 2 of the best Outer Limit episodes ever.
Yes,
Demon with a Glass Hand and Architects of Fear. And those are like my 2 all-time favorite the Outer Limits episodes. And
I used to love that show.
He's magnificent. Those. Yeah, he was great. I liked Robert Culp a lot. I think he brought a lot of gravitas to the show.
He had style.
Serious, and he
had style.
Yeah,
he
right?
definitely had style. That guy.
I think Cat was sort of the goofy, 70s, 80s hippie.
I'm the curly haired clown. He had hair like a clown, and then Robert Culp had the nice haircut that never moved.
Was it a VW Bug that he drove?
Yes,
as a
convertible.
Teacher? And that. Yeah, and weren't they going to make? Didn't they make that into a toy, or Mego had that as like a
vintage Mego?
Was it never made? Or
no, it was made. They made.
Yeah,
they made it. So it was a 3 3/4 inch type thing. Yeah, it's a little expensive, if you will.
So they made who? Culp, the Greatest American Hero, and the Bug.
You know what? I have the book up there by John Bonavita. It's up on the thing. I'd have to go look it up. I know they made the Bug. I think they made the Bug, him, Culp, and they may have made the Connie Selica character. I don't remember. I didn't really collect those because only 3 3/4 I really had with Star Wars. That was kind of my thing with them.
Well, it's interesting. Because
they never did the. Go ahead, Max.
Oh no, I was going to say it's interesting you're talking about toys because even today, whether or not the series went long term, we're constantly as toy collectors, we're constantly seeing in our posts where people are talking about how cool it would be to have a Greatest American Hero figure in various sizes, whether it's the 8-inch or the 12-inch or whatever. And there's been quite a few people who have done them in their custom work.
Actually, Mac, the bigger draw is they're writing a petition for the Max Overnighter figure. They're actually trying to get that together.
Well, I think FTC and NECA are kind of still working that out. They're trying to get that.
They're going to put you in a package with Svengoolie. It's going to be the 4th.
That would be very appropriate, right? Well, FTC snuck one in with their Santa Claus line
Yes.
You'll see a striking resemblance to the Max Overnighter. But
we have to get people to come watch our lives so they can see
It's
you.
funny in the article too. They talk about bringing. Well, they said Robert Culp wanted to direct some episodes, and that made it difficult. And that he wanted to bring Bill Cosby in to play the Russian version of the Greatest American Hero.
Wait, now
the bad version.
Would he be giving women sedatives?
That's
or
what I mean.
something?
I go, that didn't age well having Bill Cosby be the villain on the show. But I mean, I guess those two guys were thick as thieves from I Spy.
Oh yeah,
being on that series together and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But it was interesting that he wanted to. I wonder if he ever did show up on an episode. I don't know. I think that was the other thing about the show is it never had a solid time slot. They moved it around a lot, so it never really took off. I think it's remembered fondly by people that enjoy like sci-fi / superhero type shows because there wasn't just a lot back then. But I really don't think it wasn't like a massive hit. It started to do well and then it sort of petered out rather fast.
Well, I think Bill Cosby was on an episode, wasn't he? He was doing the Jell-O pudding commercial in between between the episode running. He did the 30-second commercial break, first one.
There you go. Yeah, and for for that period of time, I mean, to shuffle, that's a kiss of death when you lose a slot or switch a slot.
Right.
Now like in today's time, that would be like, so what? We would just go ahead and record it anyway wherever it shows up. We could set up our DVRs or whatever. But back then, if you're recording it, even, you had to know to switch, your VHS, your Betamax, or whatever the hell you had.
Oh, geez. What is that? I'm too young to know what that is.
So, yeah, so
you're Victrola, Lou.
So yeah, I mean, so and now it's so everything, as information is so accessible on the internet. And like I said, for me, I went and borrowed the entire series from the library. So I mean, the stuff is out there. You didn't have that back then.
Max, there's this thing called the internet, and you might be able to just stream it if you want.
I've heard of that. Is that WW interweb thing that you're speaking of?
http://
But as you can see from, if anybody can see our backdrops, we are clearly physical media collectors. We enjoy physical things, as there are towering collections behind all three of us, of actual books and toys and.
Yeah, and I know that those people that read the StarLog magazine on that interweb access thing, but here I am with a paper copy, and if this was video, you'd see me holding it up right now.
Yeah,
issue number 51 from October of 1981.
Did you buy all the issues? No, go ahead, Rich. No.
I was just going to say, for those of you that are unaware, Max is one of the foremost collectors in the world of Grit magazine.
He was the first,
and that's only
block, and he's going to amaze.
That's right. I did. I amazed all my friends and made $37 over a 12-year career of Grit magazine.
Did you trade your 6 months of working for a pack of garlic gum, or did you get the hand buzzer? Which did you get?
Well, I actually got the whoopee cushion and pepper gum.
Nice.
I was a jokester even back then.
Oh, that's nice. The X-ray glasses.
So you've been buying
the X-ray glasses at work?
I wish. So you've been buying lots of
Periscope pen
episodes. I mean, you've been buying lots of StarLog magazines, Max.
Yeah, Max is a big collector now.
I actually have started to pick up a few as we've been going along doing these. It's been a lot of fun. So for me personally, it's easier for me to read a paper copy than it is to read the interweb.
I agree with you. 100%. All I do is on a computer all day because of my job. I'd rather have a paper copy. I'd rather have a book. I'd rather have a magazine. But my question is, did you get the editions of which we did all the podcasts on so far? Or are you still
I
working
haven't
on
gotten all of them. No, I haven't. I'm
Very disappointed in you, Max. Cut him off.
yeah. Cut me right off. Cut you out.
I'll tell you my favorite StarLog issue that I have. I've got a few of them too. I
If
buy
you
them
do the Bill
when I
Bixby Lonely Man one again, I'm gonna go
No,
get a
that
drink
one's a
of
good
water.
one. But I have the one that has the Star Wars holiday special in it, where they're promoting the Star Wars holiday special. You know, and
Oh, not that
the
thing that was
article is
on
like,
TV.
yeah, it was
On
on
TV on
one
Sunday.
time only. One
Oh,
time only.
yeah, there's a
No,
reason it was
no,
only on one time only.
known for being
I
the
think they,
first appearance of Boba Fett. He shows up in a cartoon in an animated segment.
oh,
But you know,
goodness. Did they
and
burn it
it's just
after that?
interesting. Just like we're reading this now, like it's interesting to read. You know, you got your news that way. You Starlog once
Oh
a
yeah.
month, and they're talking about the greatest American hero, and here's our plans for the series this season, and you know, who knows how it went. You know,
It's really
and
cool.
along
It
with
is.
some.
It is interesting. My cousin loved that show. Where he lived, the part of New Jersey he lived in was so northwest. I mean, it was literally like they had to drive 3 miles to get their mail because they had to go to the post office. They didn't deliver to the house, kind of thing. They loved that show. I think they got 2 channels, and they only got about an hour and a half worth of TV every week, and that's all they watched. They loved
Wow.
that show, Greatest American Hero. They loved it to the point that when he hummed the song like every other 5 minutes, I wanted to smack him. That song just became a nightmare. They even took that song and put it into a Seinfeld episode. That was what George used for his answering machine message.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
That's
that was a
right.
good one. Just change the words.
Oh,
It's
and
fantastic.
the word the song was popular, and that I do remember from back then. Didn't put it together. Didn't put it together with the show, but you know, you always remember the earworm, I guess.
Yeah,
It's funny how many like theme songs were popular on the radio. You know, you had Greatest American Hero, Chico and the Man.
Don't even get started, Chico and the Man. We have to
Welcome
do a
Back,
whole
Daughter.
episode on that one of these days.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
one
we
of my
should get it. We
favorites.
should do a. We could probably do a whole episode on television theme songs that made it.
Exactly.
God.
You know,
How about
it was funny
you come
that
in and you hum them, and then Rich and I have to guess which ones you're humming.
there you go. There you go. Yeah, the other day, as a matter of fact, I was listening. I was listening to an old episode, an old rebroadcast of Casey Kasem, American Top 40, and it was, I forget what week it was, in 1971 or something, and they got through. They're playing, you know, like they were getting into the top 7 or something, and it was like, holy cow, you know, they were like the Laverne and Shirley and Welcome Back Cotter themes and all of that stuff that were actually big pop hits.
Right, right.
You know.
Well, you have to remember, Max, there was nobody YouTubing and any of that crap. They had like how many TV channels? If there were 13 channels on the dial, 4 or 5 of them maybe worked, and then you got that one UHF that was like really bad. You know, things.
Well,
were
you had
slow
ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, and usually
Right.
one, maybe 2 independent stations.
Right, so everybody
That was
was
your
watching
choices back
the
then.
same show. Yeah, now you
Yeah.
can watch whatever. I can't even follow now.
Well, to me, it would take forever for a show like this to be a hit because there's so many options out there now. And again, I think it was a cult hit. I could be wrong because they don't really talk about it in the article about how they said it was successful enough that they were doing a full first season. And I think the other thing they mentioned in the article is that there was a writer's strike at the time, and that could have affected the show as well, is that they just didn't air episodes because nobody was writing the episodes or anything like that. So.
Well, Max was also in court because he was supposed to be the original Greatest American Hero, but they wrote him out after they found out he was also Santa Claus. They didn't want to ruin any kids' lives, so Max, took him to court, and he kind of slowed the whole process down. But
right,
they gave Max, a little bit of a hard time, but he did come out on top. He's still Santa Claus. So.
There you go. So what I can fly through the air. I got to work one day a year. Hey, come on! Instead of crash landing into a garbage can, there you go.
That was the other thing, right? Like his suit is just all one bright red piece of. It's like one of those like union suits that the guys, the old miners would wear, or something like that, And it had that weird symbol on it, whatever it was.
Does anybody know what the symbol was? I'm sure they explained it. Is that an S? Oh no, it's a symbol for hope. Now, what is this? I guess that's from his alien, wherever he got it from, the alien ship.
Right.
I guess it is funny. You read the article and they're saying stuff like, well, they couldn't give him, like, he didn't know what all the superpowers were, but they couldn't give him too many, or the show would be 10 minutes long, and he, overdo.
Well,
everything.
there was a manual, and he lost the manual. So I guess the alien
Twice.
was smart enough to give him a manual.
Flying, invisibility.
Right.
He grew chia pet hair. What else? What else was there? I mean, that guy had
telekinesis, like all sorts
of
telekinesis.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, how many superpowers can you have before you run out? I mean, I guess there's plenty, but like, I don't know. I just think at some point, like they said, they had to balance it. If you read the article, they had to balance it because it'd just be too much. Like the guy would be invincible at that point,
Mm-hmm.
So
well, and I think that was part of the show too, is to, as he's trying to fight crime and right wrongs and all that stuff, while at the same time, these powers were showing themselves inadvertently, and
yeah, that's
it's a metaphor for puberty. You've got
curly
hair all of a sudden. You don't know. One day you could do this.
His head was puberty itself. I mean, I'm like,
I think we've discovered what the actual metaphor.
Oh, we got the message of the show is puberty and discovering yourself. It's
puberty and self-discovery.
The larger the curl, the more superpowers you have. That's all there is to it. I mean,
I've got hair where I didn't have hair before. My armpits smell. What's going on?
And honestly, I'd rather be in my state than growing a big curly bush like that on top of my head. I couldn't do that. I'm happy to be where I am. I'm happy to be where I am, because that's when it's like, you just shave that off. The next day it'd be a full-grown blowout of curly hair again. It's like a vampire. You couldn't keep it down. Cut it all off, it grows right back. I mean, that's chia pet shit on his head. That's for sure.
Lou, did you have curly hair when you were a kid?
No, I had not curly. It was like wavy, because I would grow up, I would always cover my ears.
Like
you know what I mean?
Hair?
What's that? What?
You had like Farrah Fawcett hair, like wavy feathered hair.
Well, not quite that bad, but but I had it like really long, and every time I went to the barber, would cut it a little shorter. He's like, you should put your hair over your ears. My ears stick out too far. I'll be very honest. So he kept cutting it, and I'm like, and then each time I went, it got a little shorter. Eventually, I just, he's like, see, I told you it looks better. And I'm like, oh, then I grew it all back, but it would get curly on the end. So I didn't have the Cousin Oliver where it came down, it was straight and it would stay there.
Everybody had that Dutch boy look in the 70s.
Right. It would start curling back out, like it was going to grow back inside my head, and whatever. So yeah.
So you had like the Doris Day flip.
The Doris Day flip, or the toy poodle hair, that kind of shit. So yes. But that's what I had. That's what I had, not anymore. That's for sure. Now it's just whatever I can pull off,
Everybody had bangs in the 70s. All boys had bangs. Like it was just like.
No, I had the part on the side, and like the big swoop, like the huge around, and then up, and then it was bad.
Back before Bieber made it popular.
Yes, it was basically I had to leave it to Bieber, but
no, the Justin Bieber or whatever.
Yeah, but worse. And I had the big TV glasses, the Larry Kings, and all that shit. Oh yeah, dude, life was hell as a kid. Life was hell.
No.
I needed a great
Simpsons.
Yeah, basically. I needed it was Millhouse. I needed a suit from an alien being with a funny symbol on the front so I could grow chia pet hair and fly erratically or spastically through the air. That would have helped me a lot.
Look at you now. This massive fortune. Yeah. Amassed from selling seeds.
Right, of toys and models as an adult grown man, because I have nothing else better to do with whatever little cash I have to pay for things. And here I am sitting here talking about, toys and curly-headed pubic chia people.
William Cat still shows up at conventions and stuff like that.
Does he still curly hair?
I don't know.
He's got a more conservative shorter cut, but from what I've heard, all accounts that I've heard, he's just a really fantastic guy to get to talk to. If you do get a chance to encounter him at one of these conventions, he's one of those people who doesn't seem to like put you off, like
like Adam
Yeah,
West.
because the shows come around now, and he's sort of popular, and he's got enough credential between this and Carrie, and I'm sure there's
They're
a big
Perry
contingent.
Mason.
I'm sure there's a big contingent of Perry Mason fans.
They're gonna
that
laugh
go to
at
conventions.
you.
Sure.
What? There's a huge Perry Mason convention. All 4 fans go. Are you kidding me?
No, not all 4, because my wife and I still haven't been.
I thought Perry Mason was cool. And I used to watch as a kid, so But
I love Perry Mason, and that's our Sunday ritual. And and as he plays Paul Drake, on Perry Mason, I liked his character, and I was sitting there saying, I should go to one of these conventions where he goes because of his fame from Greatest American Hero, and tell him I liked him as Paul Drake.
You should.
From Perry Mason. That's what I remember.
They always like it when you bring up like a role that nobody really
knows.
Yeah, or that nobody like talk like when my friend went to we went to a convention a couple of weekends ago, and Peter Weller was there from RoboCop, and everybody wants to talk about RoboCop.
Oh
and
my
Buckaroo Banzai.
Gosh, man.
And my friend was like, "Oh, I liked you in Naked Lunch," and he's like, "Oh, thanks, man." You got started talking to him about that, so. They always love it when you bring stuff up like that.
Wait a minute. That guy was the guy. Wasn't that the guy that was in? Sorry, I don't mean to like get off topic. Wasn't that guy that played the bad guy in like Sons of Anarchy? Wasn't that him? It's the same.
He was.
Dude.
Yep. He played a bad cop on that. And he's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, his biggest role he's known for is RoboCop. That's what it is.
Well, in the event that William Cat does check out this podcast, hi, I like you as Paul Drake.
And I listen, I've nothing against you personally. I'm sure your hairstyle was fashionable at the time. It's no reflection on you as a person. It was just a thing of my personal preference. I did not enjoy men with curly hair. I didn't trust them. There was something
It comes from an incident where at Christmas time, Rich was told to sit on Santa's lap and pretend it was a bumpy ride. And he offered him free candy. I don't know. It's something to do with that. So ever since then, he just said, "Nah, no more." No, I agree with Rich on that. Sorry, I don't. No offense to anyone who's like that.
It was a '70s thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think guys used to get their.
It was '70s.
Yeah, was that a thing that they went and got a perm max? Because I was just a kid.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of guys that did. I mean, as a matter of fact, my dad even went through that phase. He went from the 60s where they slicked it all back and all of that stuff, and somewhere in the 70s, he decided he wanted to get his hair permed, and he went from being called Red to being called Fuzzy. So.
Oh, that's classic. But I could go in a whole other direction about the Lonely Guy store and the Lonely Man song or the Sad Man song, whatever it is. But we'll just stay on topic here with the fuzzy heads. It's just too classic. Does anybody know anybody today with like curly hair like that?
No, that's what I mean. Like you don't see guys.
Is there anybody out there who has it?
Unless they're psychopaths. Like it's like.
Oh my god! Oh my god, that's too funny. Yeah, probably. I mean, Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, right. Is he someone that you look up to and want to hang out with?
No.
And you notice that even McDonald's has tried to distance himself from Ronald.
Have they really? Yeah, that's true. They don't do that anymore, do they?
When was the last time you saw a McDonald's commercial featuring Ronald McDonald?
I haven't, but I will say this. Years ago, I looked up how much could you make as Ronald McDonald? The guy who was like the main Ronald McDonald clown, like the main one, or however many there were. They made, and this was maybe 20 years ago. They were making $300,000 a year.
Wow, I could live on that.
I'd get curly hair and a big red nose. I'd be all right with that. And a big red nose. I'd walk around like that all day. Money falling out of my pocket.
Rich played a clown for a whole lot less than that, I'll bet.
Oh, oh my God. I forgot about that. That's classic. That's got to come up. We got to do that one of the episodes.
The Filipino bungee clown.
Maybe we should just ask Naren Kavor if we could do like our most embarrassing moments. And oh Christ, well, I'm sure I could top Rich. I could top Rich's clown. Believe me, I could go way deep. People are like, "Oh my God, that's not even funny. You poor bastard. You should kill yourself." That kind of thing. Oh my God.
Well, anyway, I guess we're done talking about the greatest American hero for this episode.
I would think that the
Wait a minute.
consensus amongst us is that he was not the greatest American hero.
Wait a minute, Max, are you wearing a red shirt with a long sleeve red shirt because people can't see?
I am.
He's doing his Wisconsin greatest American hero, Maximus.
That's right.
Did that come from outer space?
I just realized that. So there's something about Max.
And see, it's got a crazy symbol on the front. Actually, it doesn't. It has it's a Black Knight.
Drink more beer. That's what it says.
Drink more beer.
Look, his hair's starting to curl.
Chia. Chia.
And you know what else? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air.
Believe it or not, we did 36 minutes. I think we were supposed to be down to like 15.
And probably out of that 36 minutes, like 5 was on the greatest American hero.
They're just going to take the whole thing, and they're going to take a big butcher knife and just slice off like the first 15 minutes and go whatever's left right to the toilet. Enough of that.
There you go.
So without further ado, I'm Dr. Durant. You can catch me on YouTube or around Facebook. And my cohorts in crime here are
Maximus. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm Max Overnighter, and you can catch Rich on Dr. Durant's Sanctum, and you can also catch our fearless leader Lou at my Migo Like and Migo Like on Facebook, and I kind of hang out there with him every once in a while. And I had a lot of fun.
The world's most famous Migo Like liver is Maximus.
Yep, Max pops up like a character from Laughing in those pop-out windows. You never know when he's going to show up.
He comes through like Artie. What's the guy's name? Artie, whatever. Used to come through with a safari hat. He'd stick his head through the bush.
There you go.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that guy.
Interesting.
Oh my God, too funny. Yeah, but other than that, I guess as always, thank you to everyone for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed our segment. As usual, this was very off the cuff. None of this has been planned. Its names have been used to protect the innocent.
Yeah, and, this was scripted. If you couldn't tell, it was a highly
scripted episode. I'm holding up cue cards for these two so they can read.
That's right. We rehearsed all of these bits repeatedly to make them sound like they just happened.
Mac, your timing was different tonight. We got to fix that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we're good. So I guess we'll say goodbye. And did everybody do their plugs before we left? Everybody got all their plugs in?
Yep. Migo Like, Dr. Durant's Sanctum, and Louis'
pretty much
drive-through Shake Shack or whatever it is you're doing over there now.
Notice I wasn't eating this time. Last time I was eating, I kept muting the mic because Rich gets mad because I talk with my mouth full, which is just very rude in New Jersey. All right, we're gonna end this, and then that's it. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Good night,
See you next time.